I was attacked by a Wendigo. It was one of those days in late November, when the sun barely crests the tree line and hides from the world. The temperatures were well below zero, and the wind chill made it feel like 30 below. It was during this brief window of time between sunrise and full daylight that we started our trek into the woods. My two friends and I were headed to a small lake, about 2 miles in, and we planned on setting up a deer stand and doing some ice fishing. None of us had ever been on the lake in the winter, so we didn't know what to expect. As we walked along the barely discernible path, the trees seemed to close in around us. The snow muffled any sound, and there was not a single bird call or animal track to be seen. We joked about how eerie it was, but we pushed on, eager to reach the lake and get to work. But as we rounded a bend in the path, we saw something that made the hair on the back of our necks stand up. There, in the middle of the snow-covered ground, was a humanoid figure. At first we thought it was a bear, but as we got closer, we realized it was something else. It was emaciated, with sharp claws and teeth, and a face that was almost both human and animal. And then we heard its breath, a loud, guttural snort that echoed through the silent woods. In that moment, I knew we were in the presence of something terrifying. My friends didn't seem to share my terror, though. They started asking questions. Things like, what is that thing? And why is it out here? But the creature just kept breathing heavily and occasionally clicking its teeth. As we stood there frozen in fear, the creature took a step towards us and let out another loud snort. That was our cue to run. We turned and fled, crashing through the underbrush, stumbling over fallen logs. I could hear the creature moving through the trees behind us, crashing and clattering like some kind of monstrous avalanche. We ran for what felt like hours, adrenaline pumping through our veins. We were safe, or so we thought. Finally, we burst out of the trees and onto the frozen lake. We had made it. It let out a roar that seemed to shake the very foundations of the earth. As we turned to go back, we saw that the creature had reached the lake and was now standing on the shore, its eyes fixed on us. It took a step into the water, and the ice gave way beneath its weight. My friends and I stood there on the shore, paralyzed with fear. We watched as the ice cracked and shifted where the creature had been standing, but it did not emerge. Maybe it had gone back to the forest. Maybe it had slipped beneath the ice. But then, we heard a loud crash and saw a dark shape moving through a different area of the trees. It was coming back. It was coming for us. We didn't wait to see what was coming. We turned and ran, making for the safety of the car. We didn't look back until we were safely away from the lake. As we stumbled into the driver's seat and slammed the door, we could hear the creature moving through the underbrush behind us. We sat there, frozen, listening to the creature's heavy breathing outside the car, its heavy breathing growing louder and more frantic. Then, just as suddenly as it had started, it stopped. Then, just as suddenly, it turned and crashed into the trees. We made it back to the road, but we didn't stop driving. What we saw made the hairs on the back of our necks stand up again. There, in the middle of the road, was a single set of footprints, the only evidence that we had ever been there. Subscribe to join the investigation.